Now will we see the magic?
All right, where's Murray? Okay, who is it?
This is Jesus, kid.
Know then that it is the year 10,191.
Yes, we are bored. We're all bored now.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Hello, and welcome to Mary vs. the Movies with your host, Mary Jones.
And Dennis Ling, and you're listening to Dennis versus the Movies, the podcast that is done once a year, or, well, 4 times a year, where I pick 4 movies which I go out and destroy.
Wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Nobody said you're allowed to destroy these movies.
I thought that was a podcast.
No!
Why is it called Versus?
Stop it. Do not destroy these movies. These are all movies that meant something to me when I was young. All right, look, the premise of Dennis versus the Movies is not that Dennis gets to destroy movies.
Oh.
It is that I get to show Dennis movies that I loved when I was young.
I forget what it was last year, and I just assumed that's what we did.
It was the same idea, Dennis. Yeah, you wanted to destroy them too. Why would you want to destroy perfectly good movies like The Last Unicorn and The Great Muppet Caper? What is wrong with you?
It just is in the title of the podcast.
No. Look, Versus is it's a concept, but it's not an action.
It's a band.
It is a band. That's true. I'll give you that. All right.
With James Bayoulet, and I don't even know if that's how you say it. I've only read it.
Right.
And I remember on their website, it specifically said they will not correct you if they hear you say it wrong.
Oh, ouch.
And Fontaine Toups
Yeah.
on bass.
Your beloved
Yeah.
Fontaine Toups. I don't even mean that like as a joke. You genuinely,
She's great.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Versus is a great band.
Mm-hmm. We were supposed to see them in the spring of 2020.
I know.
And we would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for this meddling
COVIDs.
Yeah, worldwide pandemics.
Yeah. Oof. Well, and without the pandemic, would we be doing this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not. Okay, so this year I have a slate, and you've already started fighting me.
I've seen all of them.
You have not. You have not seen all of them.
No, I don't know anything about the Burbs at all. I assumed it was a Tom Hanks movie, and I don't think it is.
No, it is.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Why am I telling you this? I shouldn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
All right. No, okay. Well, now hold on. Okay, so tonight's movie is The Burbs.
Yep.
What do you know about this film?
It's a Tom Hanks movie, and it's directed by Joe Dante, I think.
Yeah? Okay, go on.
And the end.
And that's all you know?
Yeah.
You never caught this on cable?
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, it's not...
played constantly.
Yeah, well, maybe I just wasn't watching when it was playing constantly.
You had better things to do, huh? Did you, though?
In college, I didn't really have cable, so...
You didn't even own a television.
I didn't even own a television.
Uh-huh.
I was watching my eyelids. Oh, what year is this?
Like 89.
Okay, so it's after Gremlins 2.
After Inner Space.
After Matinee.
No, before Matinee.
Oh, was that 90s?
That was 93.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I made a special exemption to watch that because it starred John Goodman.
Like I feel like with Joe Dante so far, he's hard to pin down.
How so?
With some people, like it's a movie by this person, like you know exactly what you're gonna get.
Like you know what a Spielberg film might be.
Yeah.
You know.
With Joe Dante, you know it's gonna be made well, but you don't know which way he's gonna go, if he's gonna zig or zag.
How do you mean? I find that interesting because I don't agree.
Like I feel like it's always a little satirical.
Yes.
But like, I don't know. Like you don't know if he's biting a hand that feeds him or if he's going all in type of thing.
Like I'm not saying he's Paul Westerberg,
No.
but no, you know, I mean, but no, I guess I see what you're saying, and the fact that he hasn't really made a film in a long time because, his sensibilities just did not match up with anyone else's, I guess.
I get the feeling Hollywood didn't know what to do with him. You know,
Maybe
even
maybe
when
he
they-
is movies Paul
yeah.
Westerberg. I take that back.
I feel like he's more like Devo,
Devo.
and that he had a hit, but like he just kept being weird.
I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
Like he had a hit, everybody still liked him, but Hollywood was like, "How do we sell this?"
Yeah, it kind of kills me that Matinee was not a hit.
Yeah,
So yeah, look, you don't know anything about this movie. What do you expect from it?
I expect Tom Hanks owns a house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's just bought a house, like Money Pit style,
Mm-hmm.
or if it starts with him in the house.
Okay.
I assume he's moving in. Like he's it's like 89, so he's still in his 20s technically, so he can still play someone
Is
young.
he still in his 20s at that point?
Maybe he's 30, but
Yeah.
like he could still play someone in his 20s.
He's still young.
Getting a starter home.
Right. He's still young. He's still the young thin Tom Hanks we all think of.
Yeah, and I think the houses will look the same. It'll definitely be like, you know, Edward Scissorhands style houses.
Okay. Yeah.
Next to each other, and he'll have a neighbor that like is maybe annoying, maybe like a Ned Flanders type. Who knows?
Okay.
It's definitely going to be him and a neighbor.
Right.
It's definitely going to pair two houses together and
Mm-hmm.
two families or whatever.
And he's at war with the neighbor.
Yeah, definitely a dog.
Okay.
Definitely a dog.
Sure.
No death.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there'll be parents visiting, but I don't know if they'll be a big part of the story.
Okay, so love triangle.
Yeah, I think like a kind of a lust thing, like a vacation.
Okay.
I
So
think there's going to be like a object of lust that
Okay.
you know that he'll long for, but won't actually do anything about.
so we're beyond the era of key parties and yeah, okay.
No, it's not that at all.
No, this isn't what is it, the ice storm or anything?
No.
No. Okay.
No, this is definitely about the 80s. It's about Reagan. It's
Okay.
about all that.
All right.
You know, I assume it's it's setting up, you know, the perfect, you know, ideal suburban situation, and then
Now-
because it's Joe Dante, he's gonna puncture it in as many ways as he can.
Now you're a guy who was born and raised in the suburbs.
I am a suburb.
You are you are
I'm a suburb.
the Philadelphia suburb of Dennisling.
Yes. I was a paper boy.
Yeah.
I had a dog.
Uh-huh.
I had a yard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your parents were part of a country club at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played on golf courses.
God.
I actually was playing on a golf course and then had a golf ball hit at me. Actually, while me and my friend were throwing golf balls at windows, and we got chased back to my house. So
You are Gen X.
yeah,
After the boomers, you're that subsequent generation of people who grew up in the suburbs, and you have that idyllic American background, right?
yeah.
With all of the how do I put this? Was there any blue velvet going on in your town that you know of?
I know in Flowertown, the first town I lived in, there was a penthouse pet of the month on my block.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right.
and she got, you know, cast out of the family.
Oh.
Yeah.
God. See, that's what sucks about the I mean, yeah, that would happen probably anywhere, but that, yeah, no. I'm going to just hold you to, you know, ridicule for...
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I didn't cast her out of the family or anything.
I did not grow up in the suburbs, as
Yeah.
as we know. I moved from...
You leapfrogged the suburbs.
Yeah, I did.
You went from the city to the sticks.
I did. I went from the city to, like, way out in the country.
Yeah.
And my suburban existence is purely as more or less an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and that was partially, you know, moving because of a job and
And partly here.
yeah,
where
here
we're
at
at right
my
now.
mom, right? But
And this is like partial sticks.
yeah, well, where we live is partial sticks, but you know, like I've never really been a regular, you know, ring suburbanite.
No.
That's not how I grew up, and it is still kind of a weird and foreign thing to me even now. It doesn't.
Although I had a really good pizza place growing up.
Well.
Antonio's Pizza in the at the Flowertown shop. Not the one with Acme. This was where Gennardi's used to be.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Very, very important that you make a distinction between shopping centers
because
that
there
barely
was a pizza place
They
by
don't
Acme.
exist anymore. Okay, sure.
There was a pizza place by Acme, and
who-
it's not
who
the pizza
listening to this-
Peas or whatever.
Who listening to this is going to know what you're talking about?
I'm just telling it for myself when I listen
Okay.
to this, like when I'm like 80.
I was going to say, you don't listen to our episodes. You've never listened to one of our episodes.
When I'm 80, I'm just going to listen to the Dennis versus the Movies episode. What was on my mind back then?
Boy, ain't that a question.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions? Like, because I always ask you questions.
No, I asked the Dennis. The suburbs are not that interesting.
But the movie, like,
No,
is there any like thoughts you have about Joe Dante?
no, I'll save that for when we come back.
All right.
What's he building in there? What the hell is he building in there? He has subscriptions to those magazines. He never waves when he goes by. He's hiding something from the rest of us. He's all to himself.
The suburbs dream of violence. Asleep in their drowsy villas, sheltered by benevolent shopping malls, they wait patiently for the nightmares that will wake them into a more passionate world. J.G. Ballard. No, seriously, that is from his last novel, Kingdom Come.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think he's onto something there. I mean, that was written in 2013, not 1989, but, you know, he nailed the vibe.
Yeah. What's he building in there? That's all I kept thinking of.
Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
Great.
When this came out, the critics hated it.
But at the time, like, this was post-Big.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Hanks, like, people were just wanted everything Tom Hanks at the time. Like, he just blew up.
Well, but this is good Tom Hanks though.
I know, but
Yeah.
like there was just a ton of stuff. I mean, Money Pit was around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I forget if Money Pit was before this. I guess it was before this. I don't know. But it
yeah,
was
a little bit.
but you just wanted anything Tom Hanks for a while.
Sure.
So I could see why it made money.
I don't know that moment ever really fully went away either. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, Tom Hanks has been a star since at least Splash.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, Big was like, well, big. But you know, he hadn't won an Oscar yet, but he would, and yeah, he is still a star.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's an old man now, but he's not an old man, but you know, he.
Did you read the thing how he didn't want a kid because he didn't want to lose out on the previous roles he had?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Guess what? You ended up with Chet Hayes.
Yeah.
Can you understand why I liked this as a kid?
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's interesting. I guess these are all houses that have been used in TV.
Oh, my God, yes. So
Yeah.
this was all filmed on the Universal backlot.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these houses are famous. Like, one house is from the Munsters. Another house was, like, the Leave It to Beaver house. I mean, this is basically just taking the American television idea of the suburbs,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's literally the suburbs we saw on television every week.
And that we just saw. So we were in Disney World a few weeks ago. The Carousel of Progress.
Yeah, yeah.
It's basically that house. The dog, you know.
There-
It'll never work.
oh, okay. So going to our questions,
Yeah.
there were dogs.
Plenty of dogs.
Plenty of dogs.
Big parts of the plot.
Were there deaths?
Yeah.
Not on screen, but absolutely there's deaths.
Yeah.
Was there a love triangle? No.
No.
There's no sex in this movie. No. It's funny how, like, you know, you were kind of like trying to come up with this idea of what the movie would be. Did you have any idea that it would?
None.
None. Like, obviously, you Dennis, I didn't want to tell you were way off the mark.
Yeah.
You were way off the mark.
But like, I hadn't even seen a scene of this movie, so
That
like
amuses
I
me.
just had seen the title, but I just never watched it. Yeah, it was like right before I went to college, and I just was not into movies for a while. At least those kind of movies. I'm like, those. You know, there's some people in this room that didn't see Jurassic Park for like 20 years.
Yeah, but at least I saw the Burbs.
Well,
It's a black comedy. It's kind of a satire on suburban ideas of, I mean, it kind of fits into that same sort of mode of Tim Burton was doing at the same time with Edward Scissorhands and Beetlejuice.
I think that was a year after this.
Yeah.
And then there was, it feels like a combination of Edward Scissorhands and that Nothing But Trouble movie that came out in 91. The one with Dan Aykroyd as that terrible old man.
So here's the thing. I've never seen that movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Is that like within our time frame?
Yeah, it's 91. We can
Okay,
do
that's
it.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
That's
boy.
got John Candy and.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I do want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you say Dan Aykroyd, I'm like, maybe not. Hard to say. And then you say John Candy, I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
And Digital Underground.
Oh, wait. No, I think I remember a video for that. And it is Dan Aykroyd and Old Man Make. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, reconsider.
Well, speaking of horror, the Burbs.
The Burbs.
All right. So the premise of this film is Tom Hanks plays Ray. He is taking a staycation.
Mm-hmm.
He figures, that's more relaxing than hauling all our stuff out to the lake. Because this is set somewhere in the Midwest.
Yeah.
The film opens with them zooming into what looks like Iowa.
There's a Culver's down the street.
Good hamburgers. He's married to Carrie Fisher.
Some guys have all the look.
She's like, look, you can't just like rot around the house for a week. And he's like, no, actually I can.
Yeah.
This is fine. And I've done that. I mean, look, I think I did that last summer. We just stayed in the house.
You've done that. You rarely feel good doing it.
No, that's the thing. You never feel good when you do a staycation. It always feels wrong.
Yeah.
Like you have to go away. As long as you can afford to go away, get out of your house because otherwise you drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
I've done this. You end up thinking like, oh, I need to just like fix that one picture that's a little bit askance, and next thing you know, you're ripping out a wall. Do not stay around the house. You drive yourself crazy. That's the thing. That's the thing about modern middle-class suburban convenience is it's too quiet. You're like a dog, right? You're like the dog who like is sitting there and all of a sudden he's just like, no, I gotta start tearing stuff apart. I gotta eat that couch.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, the couch is nothing but holes.
Yeah.
We are not built for comfort. Human beings are not built to sit around the house. We can't relax. I can't relax. Do you relax? No. You start tearing stuff apart in the basement.
Or you play video games.
Video games might actually be the one thing that actually saves us.
Yeah.
As a society, as a species.
Just put on the VR sets.
Yes.
Hook up the tubes.
Enact your violence through ones and zeros.
Yeah.
Just, don't actually start knocking the load-bearing walls out of your house.
Yeah.
He does not do that in this film. It's actually...
Well, he does knock some load-bearing walls out of a house.
He
That's
knocks
not
down
his.
an entire house. The idea of the suburbs, I mean, look, we could go into a whole thing about, like, why do the suburbs exist? Well, segregation...
Yeah.
Destroying the union movement, trying to create this thing called the middle class and have it think of itself as separate from the working class. Hey, you're just like a junior executive below, the 1% who owns everything. Like we could get into that whole thing, and that is actually there, kind of in the subtext of what's going on.
It also feels related to the GI Bill.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
It's like, okay, we have all these soldiers. Like.
What do we do with them?
Yeah.
We'll
put them all in the same house.
I might be a little cynical about the suburbs as a national project, and I think we've all got good reasons to feel a bit cynical about McMansionville and all the rest of that. But
yeah.
and this film is playing with it. Like there's a lot of films in the 80s that were deconstructing the idea of the suburbs because they were being made by people who actually grew up in the suburbs as opposed to their parents who moved there. So you have Spielberg's kind of sad boy in the suburbs films. Either aliens show up or usually aliens show up, but or something. There's some sort of trauma associated with growing up in the suburbs.
But Spielberg definitely does not have a satirical view of it.
No.
It's like a warm, fuzzy feeling for him.
No. I don't think it's warm and fuzzy. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he hates the suburbs.
Right.
But he is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you have like David Lynch's take of Blue Velvet, where it's like, here's the idyllic small town, the suburbs, whatever. And there's something dark lurking underneath it in the soil, and it's just there below the surface. And here you have, then you have, Tim Burton and.
See, it's interesting because David Lynch has the opposite life of you.
Yeah.
Where, like you moved from Philly to the sticks he moved from the sticks to your neighborhood in Philly.
Yeah.
and
I was so freaked out.
Ended up like Allie ended up. But
Yeah. And he was so freaked out by it, he made Eraserhead.
Yeah.
America has an uneasy relationship with the suburbs. Always will be. Or at least American art does, right? The suburbs are, well, they're artificial in a way that cities aren't artificial.
See, I can't wait to do the Hal Hartley films.
Sure. Okay.
on here.
But so in this, he's rotting around the house, and he's not the only one. You know, he's got a couple other neighbors who are also kind of, I guess, on vacation for the week or whatever. Or God only knows, because like they're just not working. I don't know if they're on vacation or what's going on there. So you've got Tom Hanks, who plays Ray, and then you've got his neighbor Art, played
Who
by...
was married. I didn't realize he was married.
Well, yeah, because he just doesn't seem to have like anything going on. I guess his wife was out for the week or something.
Yeah.
He's played by Rick Ducommun.
He talks about having like a bachelor week or something.
Right.
You don't want to listen to him when you hear him talk. You're like, whatever.
Okay, so here's the thing. Art is, of course, like kind of the neighbor who is instigating everything. He's the one who's, you know, feeding Ray all the terrible ideas.
Very Randy Quaid type.
Well, you know what? No. You know what he is?
What?
You know what he is? He's Master Shake. Aqua Teen Hunger Force? I was sitting there watching this.
I'm not sure if I follow.
Oh, okay, look, you gotta go back and watch some Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh, Master Shake. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got characters confused. No, yeah, you're right.
Oh, were you thinking of Frylock for a second?
Yeah, I was like,
no,
he is not Frylock.
He is the opposite of
Yeah.
Frylock. He is Master Shake. Go back and watch a bunch of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and you're going to know exactly what the character of Art is. He even the voice is similar.
I buy it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
These leaps of logic in everything, you know, everything is coming down, you know, everything is like not just that it's a conspiracy, but he goes to like, our neighbors are weird. I think they might be Satanists.
Yeah.
And he just goes off in these long, bizarre jags.
And yes, we know people like this.
Finally, their other neighbor, Mark, played by Bruce Dern, is like a Vietnam vet who is not just patriotic, but, you know, kind of nuts.
I was so ready for the classic movie trope of the suburban guy pretending to be a Vietnam hero, and it turns out like he never served or something like that, or something like that.
No.
No, he's a dude.
He's definitely one of those guys who went to Vietnam and did not come back right.
Yeah.
Probably didn't go right either.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a wife who's home the whole time too. And then you have
Is that Schaal?
Wendy Schaal.
Yeah.
Then they have their neighbor Walter down the street, who is a fussy older man who has a little toy poodle, I guess, who likes to crap on.
Apparently the same dog that was in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, there's an acting career.
I know.
All these guys are kind of living in the neighborhood.
And it really is like Rear Window. Like,
Yeah.
it's just set there. You never leave. In fact, like I was reading about how they thought about maybe leaving it, and they're like, no, it would ruin the vibe.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Hitchcock, because I do feel like there is a little bit of Hitchcock in the DNA here. But like one of Hitchcock's like kind of weird, I don't want to call them comedies, although I suppose Trouble with Harry is a comedy.
You know, it does have a lot of Trouble with Harry.
Yeah.
A lot of Trouble with Harry vibes.
Yeah. Which, again, if you haven't seen The Trouble with Harry, that's a very fun movie.
It's to the point where it's dealing with, you know, murder and all that stuff and death, but it's so funny you don't even realize it's not scary at all.
90% of the film is
Them scaring themselves.
them scaring themselves, exactly. You've got these guys like just rotting away in their neighborhood, and there's a new family that's moved into the block, and they're one of those houses where you never really see the neighbor. The house is unpainted. The lawn is dead. It's one of those places that just always looks unkempt, you know, in a way that feels unnerving.
They never leave the house.
They never leave the house. There's always weird noises coming from the house, weird lights coming from the house. You know, I'm a very live and let live person. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't spy on my neighbors. I think that's weird. But when you have like that one house that you just get bad vibes from, I get it. You're kind of like, okay, what's actually going on in there?
There was a house like when I lived in Orland. Every house was like perfect lawn, and then like jungle, nothing but weeds everywhere.
And I don't think that's like a bad thing, right? Like
No.
it's fine to, you know, like look, there are parts of our house that are unkempt, and we've got some stuff falling down, and we have to fix. I mean, we're not quite at that level, but we've got our issues, and I don't believe in perfectly manicured lawns and all the rest of that.
In fact, I wish we had more stuff.
More weeds?
Less lawn and more.
Yeah. No, I agree. That I do think that's preferable. But the thing about the suburbs is there is a sort of conformity, right?
Yeah.
And what sometimes was strictly enforced through redlining, a segregation, things like that. Now you have homeowners associations and deciding, what color your house can be, what color your door can be, how high your lawn can get. There is a strict sort of fascist conformity in living in a suburb. This film is playing with that idea because you have these weirdos who move in next door. Their last name is Klopek. They're debating, like, is that Slavic? On the one hand, you think, who cares if something is Slavic? But I mean, it's 1989, so, when they were making this film, the Soviet Union still existed, and to be Slavic meant you were a communist and like some sort of weirdo that you can't entirely trust, right? And they're just playing with the idea here. Like, the idea isn't like you can't trust people who are from Eastern Europe. I mean, that's not actually what they're saying. It's playing with that whole, oh, we have these strange people living here whose customs might be different from ours and we can't trust them. But I mean, there is something really off-putting, though, when somebody moves to your neighborhood and you never see them.
Yeah.
Like, that feels weird. Like, I'm somebody who likes to talk to neighbors, and I like to talk to people, and I'm a friendly person, believe it or not.
Especially when your houses are as close as these houses are.
Yes. And we've lived in neighborhoods where the houses were right against each other.
Yeah.
You're supposed to run into your neighbor.
Yeah.
You're supposed to see them. You're not supposed to be completely isolated from your next door neighbor. There's something strange and off-putting about that. So on the one hand, you have that kind of double-edged sword of you don't want to have this kind of everybody's house has to kind of look similar and everybody's lawn has to be at a certain height. Everybody has to be the same type of person. Nobody wants to live like that. On the other hand, it is off-putting when you've got like the one house where you never see those people. You get weird smells and sounds coming from there. And when I say weird smells, I'm not talking about like they cook different. I'm talking, why does that smell like sewage? You remember the people who lived across the street from us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that house where they had to actually rip the walls out and everything.
Yeah.
Where they started stealing the electricity from the people next door, and the water was turned off. And, I mean, this is something where these people obviously had problems like substance abuse issues, but also that sucks to live next to.
Yeah.
What do you do when you have that one block and the people are really unpleasant? Do you start to build stories about them? Like, this is an old American trope. It's funny. One movie that came to mind actually when we were watching this was To Kill a Mockingbird. They're living in the Radley house. Of course, in that film, the resolution is, okay, Boo Radley's a weird dude, but he didn't actually kill his parents or anything. Like, they build these stories up about Boo Radley, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, Radley comes to the kid's defense. We have a trope in American literature and filmmaking, storytelling, I should say, where, yes, you have that weirdo in the neighborhood. Maybe they actually turn out to be a hero. Maybe they actually aren't so bad, but there's always like kind of the weird house. And how do you feel about those people? Is the weirdo in your neighborhood actually secretly like going to be helpful or good? Is the weirdo in your neighborhood like Huck Finn actually? And it's not his fault that his dad is an abusive drunk. Is the weirdo in your neighborhood Jeffrey Dahmer? Actually, maybe he is actually a killer. Maybe there is actually like something wrong with the guy who lives in your neighborhood. Oh my God, they just opened Mr. Gacy's house and they're pulling bodies out of the crawl spaces. It can go either way.
This is a young country still. I mean, it's 250 years old. The memory of being new towns in the middle of nothing, or in the middle of Native American areas. Mm-hmm. I just feel like that memory just keeps kind of permeating through our culture, that of like this kind of, it's different than in Europe where you have towns where like, families have lived for thousands of years. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like, towns will be founded in like, I don't know, the year 800 or the year 1,
Like most people in America are colonists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that thinking still kind of permeates everything. This paranoid, we got to stick together thing.
They go through this film being terrible neighbors to this weird family, right?
3/4 of the film is that Tom Waits song, What's He Building in there? It's just people trying to figure out, Who are these weirdos?
What's their deal?
Yeah, and like, working themselves up. So there are weird, like digging at night is a weird thing.
Yeah,
like,
it's not like they don't have reasons to be a little nervous because, it's not just like, they act a little different, they have accents, whatever. Like, they see them doing things like digging the backyard in the middle of the night in rainstorms. They're bringing out weird amounts of trash. And there's a great scene where the three guys decide to go through the trash the next day, and we get Dick Miller show up as the garbage man. Yeah. A very harried and unhappy garbage man. Why are you pulling apart the garbage?
Maybe he survived the mall, and he's like, I'm not working in a mall again.
Exactly. I'm going to sell to the suburbs and just get a nice, easy job as a garbage man. Being a garbage man is a very dangerous job, actually.
Yeah.
I do love the detail that they start pulling the garbage out of the trash compactor and everything, and later in the film, the garbage is still just laying in the street because Dick Miller's character is just like, yeah, I'm not picking this stuff up. Forget you guys, I'm out of here. But yeah, of course he's in this film because, it's a Joe Dante picture. Yeah. So their neighbor, Walter, goes missing. Yeah. Walter is an old man who lives down the street. He has that fussy little dog.
A dog escapes.
Yeah, the dog escapes from the house, and they thought, well, that's weird. Why wouldn't they be, why wouldn't he come after the dog? And of course, they realize, hey, if the dog is out, then Walter is missing. Oh my God, they killed Walter.
Yeah.
So then, like, most of the film is them trying to figure out, did they actually kill Walter? How do we get in there and find the body? Mm-hmm. The three of them and their two of the wives, Carrie, Fischer, and Wendy, Schaal, they decide to go and just knock on the door and try to be friendly and be neighbors and basically get a foot in the door and see what the house is actually like in there.
So Bruce Dern he's the Vietnam guy.
Yeah.
He is all over the house.
Oh yeah.
He's like pulling down the wallpaper.
He's basically like like a dog, just kind of pulling things apart, and it's just like, no, stop it, don't do that. You've got poor Tom Hanks is trying to hold these people together, but at the whole time he's having these nightmares about being sacrificed to the devil by these people. Ray, Tom Hanks, finds Walter's toupee in the house, and it's just like, oh man, between this and the dog digging up a femur in the yard. Okay, now we finally got some evidence. So they decide when the Klopeks are out of town, they're going to break into the house and try to figure out like what is actually going on in this house. Can we find Walter's body? This there's obviously been a murder here. Ray and Art decide to go into the house. I mean, after Art goes and cuts the line and electrocutes himself, which is a fun gag.
Yeah.
It's again, it's very Looney Tunes. It's funny watching this, just like what stuck with me.
Yeah.
The whole thing of him like getting electrocuted. I don't know why, but that really.
Did you ever see the rules for Coyote in Looney Tunes?
That sounds familiar.
It's like there's like hard and fast rules like with like his character, and like one of them is that like all the damage he does, it's all because he does it to himself. The Roadrunner never does anything that causes him damage. It's always something that he did.
That tracks with what happens here. This is because every bad thing that happens to these guys is something that they kind of do to themselves.
Yeah.
Art electrocutes himself. At the end of the film, Ray sets himself on fire.
Yeah.
It's all things like that they've basically, I think bringing up the Coyote rule makes a lot of sense, in part because Joe Dante went on to direct Looney Tunes Back in Action. While they go into the house, so you've got like basically the end of the film is this long set piece of them breaking into the house. You've got Bruce Dern on the roof as the lookout. We didn't even bring up Corey Feldman as the neighborhood teenager who is like watching all this stuff and commenting on everything like a Greek chorus.
Yeah, he's painting this house the whole time.
Yeah.
I guess his parents are just out for the week or something. And one scene he comes in and he has like the classic Corey Feldman hangs out with Michael Jackson jacket. It's got the chains and everything, and it was like, yeah, you are bringing that from home.
Yeah. Oh, I know. That is totally, that is not from wardrobe. That is from his wardrobe.
And apparently Bubbles the chimp was on the set.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't bring a chimp anywhere.
No. Also, there was a monkey and
Wait. They had a chimp and a monkey?
Yeah. One of Corey Feldman's friends brought a monkey, and
Oh, no.
Corey wanted a monkey, and Joe Dante was like, no monkeys on this set.
Absolutely not. they see this giant furnace, and this furnace is far too big for just a regular old Victorian house. They decide to start just like digging in the basement, like into the floor.
Yeah,
right.
they figure Walter was tossed in there. And
I mean, it's really dumb of them if you think about it. Like, why would they bury Walter in the basement when they have a giant furnace they could throw his body into?
Yeah.
So you've got Tom Hanks digging into the soil in the basement,
and they have these radios and stuff, and their friend is up on the roof with a rifle.
Oh yeah, Bruce Dern's on the roof with a rifle, and I can't think of anybody who I would not want to have a rifle more than, any character played by Bruce Dern.
Yeah, and Corey Feldman invites all his friends and orders pizza to just watch from the porch. Like something big is going to happen, and
they're not disappointed.
They're not disappointed
because of course Tom Hanks hits a gas line.
Yep.
As he's digging in the basement. Art gets out, but Ray doesn't get out in time, and the whole house explodes.
The Klopeks show up. They're in their car. Their lights were on in the car. They back up and leave, and then come back with the cops. While they come back, then the house blows up and.
It's a really good explosion too.
Mm-hmm.
I love the explosion of like they blow this house up.
Yeah.
They put most of their money into blowing this house up, and it was worth it. Tom Hanks kind of stumbles out of the house, having been set on fire. His eye is all swollen, and his hand is like kind of not working and everything. And Carrie Fisher is just like, Jesus Christ, I can't even leave the house for a day, and look what you've done.
Oh! Before it blows up, that's when Walter reappears.
Right, we didn't even get into that. Yeah. So of course it turns out Walter's not buried in the basement. Walter's not dead.
Yeah.
Well, Walter had a heart attack, went to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's all that happened. Nothing happened. Nobody was dead.
Bruce Dern, I forget his character's name, but he's trying to call him, but Tom Hanks is in full frenzy mode by then.
Yes. Tom Hanks sees that Walter's not dead, and they've exploded this house, and the Klopeks are back, and all of their stuff is burning, and it's terrible. And Tom Hanks has this whole speech about like how we're the monsters. We're the monsters on Maple Street. These people were never the problem. We were the real problem because we've turned all this violence and paranoia and fear onto other people, and why we are the real problem with society, right? He picks up a gurney, throws it into the ambulance.
Ad-libbed, apparently.
I love this.
Yeah.
It's such a good scene where he just says, just take me to the hospital, and he picks up the gurney, throws it into the ambulance, and puts
himself in.
God, it's a really funny gag.
And Carrie Fisher walks up like, I guess I'll find what hospital you're at.
So he thinks, this is it. I get to go to the hospital. Fine, whatever. I screwed up. I've done something horrible. I blew up my neighbor's house. I am truly a monster. The head of the Klopek clan,
the doctor,
pathologist, played by Henry Gibson, comes in, and he's just like, so, did you find my skulls? And Hanks is just like, what are you talking about, man? I'm sorry I blew up your house. And he's just like, no, my basement was actually full of bodies. Yeah. No, entirely full of bodies. So I'm going to take your skull now as restitution. And then you have little Henry Gibson trying to kill Tom Hanks. I love that they cast Henry Gibson in this. Henry Gibson was on Laugh-In, and he was in several Altman films. And most famous to me is Nashville, I guess. If I remember correctly, he is the head of the Illinois Nazis in the Blues Brothers, and here he is playing a villain, and
and kind of Nazi-ish.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they do give off like weird Nazi vibes, don't they?
Little Dr. Strangelove vibes.
Yeah, because the Klopeks are just three guys. It's Henry Gibson, his brother played by the comedian whose stage name was Brother Theodore, their nephew Hans, who I forget who the actor is for that.
What I love is we don't really know what they were doing. We don't know why they have these skulls.
We don't know why he was killing people.
Like, I think he got the previous family. I guess they killed the previous family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't know why.
Yeah.
We just know that they tend to move around a lot.
Yeah.
And apparently they're just killing lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the film, it sets it up as a story of like these guys who are being paranoid for no reason in the suburbs. And then at the last minute, well, actually in this case, they were right.
Yeah.
This guy actually was a murderer.
And I guess the original script called for Ray to get killed there.
Oh, really?
But then once they cast Tom Hanks, Joe Dante's like, we can't kill Tom Hanks. So they changed the. And I kind of like the ending. Like,
yeah.
I'm okay with it. they're fighting in the back of the ambulance, and Hans is driving the ambulance, and they crash into the
Art's house,
the Klopek's car.
No, well, yeah, they do that, but
they crash into Art's house, but the gurney crashes into the Klopek car.
Yeah, and when the gurney hits the Klopek's car, the trunk opens up and it's full of just skulls.
Yeah,
just tons of skulls. That's a weird place to keep all your skulls, I gotta say. Personally, I don't think I'd keep them in the trunk. I use that place to put my groceries. So yeah, because the Klopeks are actually mass murderers, Ray is let off the hook for blowing up their house.
Yeah.
Shuffles off with Carrie Fisher and says, yeah, I'm going to go on an actual vacation and leave the neighborhood for the week.
And Art's like, well, you're leaving now? Like, Geraldo's coming.
Art's house is now burning down, and his wife has come back from wherever she was. So he's going to get what he deserves. Tom Hanks leaves Corey Feldman in charge of the neighborhood for the week. And that's the end of the film. It's funny watching this, and I have not watched it in a long, long time. And just realizing, oh yeah, that scene just kind of lives in my head a lot. I don't know why, like realizing the thing where, Tom Hanks is stopping up his ears and just like kind of silently repeating words to himself so he can't hear Art talking to him. Like that whole thing about like talking to himself, and Art's just saying, yeah, you're chanting, this is basically Satanism. Like that has lived in my head for years. Every time I kind of plug up my ears and I kind of try to sing to myself so I don't hear you, I am actually thinking of that scene. Little things like that have stuck with me.
But I think they're playing, is it The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack?
I think it is, or something like that, yeah.
Or like quoting it kind of.
Yeah.
But it's and you see it cuts to the dog, and the dog has like the angel eyes squint.
Yeah. There's a couple movies that they reference in this. The other one they reference, I mean, there are actually like kind of visual references, like stuff playing on TV screens and stuff, like The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I think, is playing on TV at one point. But the other thing is there is a musical cue. They keep using like a musical cue from the movie Patton. And which is appropriate because both this film and that film, the music was all scored by Jerry Goldsmith, the great Hollywood composer. Huh. So yeah, this is another Jerry Goldsmith movie, which works for me. There's all sorts of little like nods to other films in this, of course.
I forget, did Joe Dante direct one of the Twilight Zone bits?
Oh,
I feel like he was somehow involved.
I think he does direct one of the Twilight Zone movies.
This has that vibe, like the vibe of the newer Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
And there is a ambulance scene in that, and it's
Oh, I think I know the scene you're talking about, but that's not Joe Dante. That is Mad Max guy, George Miller. Yeah, because that's the Terror at 30,000 Feet, right, with John Lithgow.
Yeah, but there's kind of connecting scenes.
Oh, is there? Okay, so we are going to do the Twilight Zone movie at some point.
Yeah,
because I've never actually sat and watched all of it. I've only seen the John Lithgow starring Terror at 30,000 Feet or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Basically the one that William Shatner did originally.
Yeah, it's and I can see why. It's definitely the kind of thing you catch it on cable, you just watch it. It's like, it's so like his panicked face, you just can't turn away.
Yeah, but that's the only part of the movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
so
that's the best part.
Well, we are going to cover it at some point.
Yeah.
And I don't entirely look forward to that because we'll have to talk about John Landis and the death of Vic Morrow and everything, and like that's going to be a real bummer. But yeah. So that was The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Rick Ducommun, Corey Feldman, Carrie Fisher, Wendy Schaal, Henry Gibson, Theodore Gottlieb, i.e. Brother Theodore, Courtney Gaines, Gail Gordon, Dick Miller, Robert Picardo, who was the other garbage man, and that's right, Franklin Ajayi shows up as a detective, Rance Howard is a detective, written by Dana Olsen and directed by Joe Dante. All right, you can, of course, follow us on social media. We're Mary VS Movies on basically your major platforms. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Mastodon. I don't know. Do people use Mastodon? Yeah, people use Mastodon. We have a Facebook page, Mary versus the Movies. We are... Oh, I finally got Tumblr working again. So we're back on Tumblr.
Oh, good.
So that's nice. Like I said, we have TikTok where we do videos. And these days it's mostly Reggie, but sometimes Dennis is able to do some animation. So, that's always fun to check out. You can listen to us on all of the other major platforms, your Apple Podcasts and your Spotifys and your YouTubes. We are available. You can always just get our RSS feed from the Gibson website and plug it into whatever your podcatcher of choice is. We have a newsletter. You're about to interrupt me.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't realize that Bruce Dern's character's name was Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
Is it a coincidence?
Probably not. I mean, Donald Rumsfeld was...
He was known then.
Yeah, he was known.
And he is that way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure it was intentional.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But what was I talking about before you... Oh, that's right. We have a newsletter where you can get updates from us about what we're doing on the show. We talk about other films that we've watched. We talk about things like, pizza. Sometimes Dennis draws comics. So that's a lot of fun. You can sign up for our newsletter by writing to us, maryvsmovies@gmail.com. You can also write to us with any comments, questions, complaints, or suggestions. We would love to hear from you. And sometimes I even remember to actually check my mail. Not as often as I should. What else? Oh, and of course, you can always help support the show by joining our Patreon. It's patreon.com/maryvsmovies. Do not use the app. If you have any sort of iPhone type thing, do not sign up for that because Apple is finding a way to screw people over doing that. So just go on a browser. Remember browsers? Remember the internet? Remember your computer? Use that. Don't sign up using the Patreon app. But it's patreon.com/maryvsmovies. And for $3 a month, you can help support the show because we have to pay for things like, the server, renting movies, our Skype account. It's not Skype. Oh my God, I just said Skype. They're getting rid of Skype. Did you know they're getting rid of Skype?
No.
Yeah. No, but what I meant was a Zoom account. Because the Zoom account costs money. And so, yeah, $3 a month. But in doing so, you will get access to our second show, Hollywood Avalon, where we watch Arthurian movies. And that can be anything from some Bugs Bunny cartoons to we just watched Guy Ritchie's King Arthur Legend of the Sword, which I liked a lot more than I expected.
It was fun.
We watched TV shows that have to do with King Arthur. We watched George Romero's Knight Riders, which is a great movie, and the movie King Arthur from 2006, which is not a great movie. It's pretty much anything in between. So if you want to hear us talk about other types of movies, the Arthurian movies, sign up at patreon.com/maryvsmovies. All right. Next week. Now, we flipped a coin.
Yeah. What
so
was the other one?
The other one was Joe versus the Volcano, another Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah.
That's right.
Nice.
So, yeah. That's
Dick Miller in this one?
No, I don't think he is. I won't tell you anybody who's in this movie.
Okay.
Because you don't know anything about this movie, right?
No, I don't really.
Yeah, you've never seen Joe versus the Volcano.
There was just so many. Like, there was this. There was Man with One Red Shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I saw some.
Turner and Hooch.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, but you saw Dragnet.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I love Dragnet, the show.
So yeah, no. The next week we're going to be watching Joe versus the Volcano again, a movie I saw as a kid. In fact, we saw in the theater, and a movie that my mom likes to reference surprisingly frequently. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing your reaction to Joe versus the Volcano.
Okay.
All right. So until next time,
I'm gonna go do something productive. I'm gonna go watch television.